national interest must temporarily take precedence over the individual liberties. You attacked the emergency of 1975, but what are you doing in the face of real emergency today? When Manipur blade, you blame the past. When action is needed, you deliver slogans. A report by Alt News revealed that misinformation in Northeast India rose by 130% during the conflict. And the question now is, did you stop it? Did you act in time? Mananiya Adhyakshji, let us not forget every government decision must be understood in the context in which it was taken. The emergency was not perfect, but nor was it a tale of dictatorship. It was a complex, bold, and ultimate transformative response to extraordinary challenge. As we mark this 50th anniversary, let us not use it as a tool to score political points. Let us not use history as a weapon. Instead, let us reflect with the maturity. Let us acknowledge both the mistakes and motives.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to speak. And I thank all the honorable members for their presence today. I, Sharuna Ghosh, being the leader of the opposition, believe that जैसे एक सिक्के की दो पहलू होती है, हर एक घटना की दो किस्से होती है. आज हमारी ट्रेजरी बेंच who is sitting next to me will be stating that emergency was a black day. But me, as a leader of the opposition, cannot not only justify or glorify that emergency was a black day, because from today if I consider that emergency is a black day, तब मैं इस coin की और एक दूसरी side को मैं नहीं देख रही हूँ. Today I am going to justify that why emergency was necessary, what was the social, economic and political consequences for which we had emergency on 25th June 1975. We got independence on 15 August 1947. Since our independence, we started a roadmap of 5-year planning. Then in our fourth 5-year planning, Indira Gandhi ji said that we want to remove poverty, means Garibi Hatao. But like the way in the month of May we had Pahalgam attack and our country was in ceasefire, we were in a war-like situation. But this was also the time when in 1971 we had Bangladesh crisis. I also wanted to justify that 80 millions of Bangladeshis has came to India from East Pakistan, and we had a war with Pakistan which was led by Sam Marshall. And in this situation, the US government has also stopped aiding us. In this situation, the Gujarat and Bihar student movement started protesting. In this situation, which was led by Jai Prakash Narayan, and in this situation, the railway, which is the lifeline of India, our Bharat, they started doing strike. So I also wanted to ask Madam Speaker, don't you think this is the situation that how a government should have been controlled? This is the situation that emergency was necessary. और मैं इस सांसद को आज ये भी कहना चाहती हूँ कि 25 जून 1975 में जब इमरजेंसी इंपोज की गई थी, वो आर्टिकल 352 की धारा में की गई थी. और my treasury bench always talk about सबका साथ, सबका विकास and सबका विश्वास. I also wanted to state that when Manipur was burning, they were justifying we want peace in Manipur. In that situation, why none of your ministers have visited Manipur? Why still your why why did the chief minister of your government has resigned, and why you are not working upon it? I would like to get an answer from any of the ministers. Why now you are saying that the emergency which was there in 25th June 1975 was a black day? Why in our Viksit Bharat we still have emergency today in 2025? Well, being a leader of the opposition, India is a nation that walks tightrope with continuity and change. India, our constitution is one of the lengthiest and written constitution of the world. So, Indian constitution is rigid and flexible in its structure, and that is our greatest strength. It shows us what happens when powers become unchecked and civil liberties are crushed. But Madam Speaker, India didn't crumble. We evolved, we amended, and we learned. After the emergency, our constitution was amended to ensure that after that emergency, no internal emergency can ever be proclaimed on mere internal disturbance. It now requires the test of armed rebellion. This was not just legal reform, it was the rebirth of constitutional morality. By stating that, I stand here not as a blind defender of a past mistake, but a responsible leader of opposition. Because in a democracy, opposition is not to be silenced, but to be respected. The fundamental rights and the duties which were crushed in 1975, we must never allow that again. Well, the emergency was a shadowed part of our Indian constitution, but it taught us the value of light. They say that democracy has died in 1975. I just wanted to take 1 minute, ma'am. Sure, ma'am, sure. They said that democracy died in 1975, but I ask, if democracy died, how did the people vote Indira Gandhi out in 1977 and vote her back in 1980? जब जनता चाहे तो ताज छीन लेती है, वक्त आए तो विश्वास भी दे देती है, ना ताकत ना नशा चलता है हमेशा.
Honorable member, आप already.
ये लोकतंत्र है जिसमें जनता सबसे बड़ा फैसला लेती है. जय हिंद, जय भारत. थैंक यू.
हेलो. सरकार कुछ इस कदर जनता पर एहसान करती है, पहले आंखें छीन लेती है और फिर चश्मेदान करती है. Respected Speaker, Madam, I rise today not to rewrite history, but to reflect on it with honesty and responsibility. In the loud narrative we hear today of Black Day, dictatorship, and Samvidhan Hatya Divas, it seems like we are watching a movie, not discussing the most complex chapter of India's constitutional journey. The 1975 emergency did not occur in a vacuum. The nation was on the edge. Mass protests, administrative paralysis, and labor strikes were going on. The judiciary had questioned the Prime Minister's election, but there was both political tension and national instability. Was it a difficult time? Absolutely yes. Was it a democratic failure? That's debatable. I think that's why today we are debating this topic on this mock parliament. Was it unconstitutional? No, not at all. They are just spreading fake narrative. Let's get straight. The emergency was imposed using Article 352 of the Indian Constitution, a provision which is exactly meant for such national crisis. The Constitution was not violated, it was activated. Yes, civil liberties were suspended, yet the press was regulated, but it was all within the legal framework. This was not a military coup, it was not a foreign conspiracy, it was a domestic government responding to the national crisis. I understand the criticism, but I also ask, if any government today faces the same breakdown of law and order, will they not implement emergency? टूटा हुआ लश्कर का भरम देख रहे हैं और जिल्ले इलाही के करम देख रहे हैं. ताकत का नशा हावी है इनकी अकल पर, तुम देख भी ना पाओगे जो हम देख रहे हैं. Let me bring this house to the present. In 2023, the northeastern state of Manipur was on fire. Communities displaced, hundreds were displaced, lives were lost. What did you see? An internet shutdown that lasted for over 150 days, no media access, no clear information. Even the Prime Minister has still now visited Manipur, and yet no one dares to call it a modern day emergency. Why? Because this time it was not imposed using the Article 352. It didn't have a level, but the impact was same. Silence, suppression, and invisibility. ইতিহাসের বিচার আমরা করব, সেটাই আমাদের দায়িত্ব, কিন্তু সেই বিচার যদি একপেশে হয় তাহলে সেটা পক্ষপাত, সেটা ইতিহাস নয়. 1975 সালে যা ঘটেছিল তাকে আমরা গণতন্ত্রের বিরুদ্ধেই ব্যাখ্যা করি, কিন্তু মণিপুরে যখন বিচারের বাণী নীরবে নিভৃতে কেঁদেছিল, যখন সংবাদপত্র ঢুকতে পারেনি, যখন ইন্টারনেট বন্ধ ছিল, তখন সংসদে বিরোধীদের প্রশ্নের জবাব কি দিয়েছিলেন শাসক দলের সাংসদরা? জরুরি অবস্থা যদি অতীতে অন্যায় হয়ে থাকে তাহলে আজকে কি সেটা অন্যায় নয়? Let me also address the press censorship argument. Yes, during the emergency the newspaper were asked to follow certain guidelines, but that was temporary. Today press freedom is being eroded. The government doesn't need to censor the press anymore. Fear does it, trolling enforces it, and funding casts the steel. So I urge this house, if you truly care about democracy, then don't selectively mourn it. Defending liberty requires consistency, not convenience. And some of my respected colleagues from the ruling side have framed the emergency as if it was the most darkest chapter in Indian democracy. It was the same Indian voter who ended it with their vote in 1977. If democracy was not there, then they can't even cast their vote. That's the strength of our system. Emergency was not the end of democracy. It was a test of it. And the India passed that test, not by foreign pressure, not by riot, but by peaceful electoral process. We should not reduce emergency to a political football. History is not a tool of revenge. It's a mirror and all of us are standing in front of it. तो आइए चीजों को ज्यादा जटिल ना बनाए. आपातकाल हुआ, लोगों ने वोट डाला, सरकार बदल गई. शायद अब पुराने कब्रें खोदना बंद करके देश को आगे बढ़ाना होगा. প্রধানমন্ত্রী নরেন্দ্র মোদীজির যে স্বপ্ন ভারতকে 2047 এর মধ্যে একটি বিকশিত রাষ্ট্রে রূপান্তরিত করা, আমি মনে করি শাসক এবং বিরোধী উভয়কেই একজোট হয়ে সেই দিকেই কাজ করা প্রয়োজন. শেষে আমি ভারতবর্ষের তৎকালীন প্রধানমন্ত্রী তথা ভারতরত্ন শ্রদ্ধেয় শ্রী অটল বিহারী বাজপেয়ী সেই বিখ্যাত উক্তি দিয়ে আমার বক্তব্য শেষ করতে চাই. सरकारें आएंगी जाएंगी, पार्टियां बनेगी बिगड़ेगी, मगर ये देश रहना चाहिए, इस देश का लोकतंत्र अमर रहना चाहिए. जय हिंद, जय भारत.
স্বপ্নের বাড়ি কিনবেন ভাবছেন? দেরি না করে চলে আসুন আরবি কনস্ট্রাকশনে। অত্যাধুনিক সুযোগ সুবিধা সহ আপনার সাধ্যের মধ্যে ফ্ল্যাট পাবেন আমাদের এখানে। রয়েছে ব্যাংক লোনের সুবিধাও। আগরতলার সার্কিট হাউস, দুর্গা চৌমুহনী, প্রগতি রোড ও কলেজ টিলার মূল সড়কের পাশে। কলকাতার নাগের বাজার, কৈখালি, মালিবাগানে রয়েছে আমাদের ফ্ল্যাট। প্রতিটি ফ্ল্যাটে রয়েছে পার্কিং ও লিফটের সুবিধে, পরিশোধিত পানীয় জল, জেনারেটর সহ আলাদা ট্রান্সফরমার। তাছাড়াও নিরাপত্তার জন্য থাকছে দিবারাত্রি সিকিউরিটি গার্ড, রয়েছে সিসি ক্যামেরার নজরদারিও। তাহলে দেরি না করে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন আরবি কনস্ট্রাকশনে। আমাদের ঠিকানা আরবি কনস্ট্রাকশন, ঝুমা চক্রবর্তী, সার্কিট হাউস, পুরনো রাজভবনের পিছনে। যোগাযোগ 8787495180 এবং 9436123139 এই নাম্বারে।
জুড়ে থাকে বাঁধন আপনার চেয়েও আপন, জুড়ে থাকে বাঁধন আপনার চেয়েও আপন, আপনার চেয়েও আপন। স্বর্ণ কমল